Today we are going to discuss about the Dirac distribution, and for this let A belongs to Rn be given. We define a function delta of A from D to R by delta A of phi equals to phi A for all phi belongs to dr. Then we show that delta A is distribution, that is delta A is continuous linear functional. For this we first show that delta A is linear. So for this we suppose two functional from D, phi and psi be arbitrary. Then for any two scalars we have delta A of alpha I plus beta psi equals to, by definition of delta A we can write alpha A plus beta psi A, and by pointwise addition we can write alpha phi of A plus beta psi of A. Now from this we can write again from our definition, alpha of phi of A means delta A of phi, so we can write here delta A of phi plus beta times psi of A means we can write delta A of psi, So we prove the first property of linearity. So we can write that delta A is linear. Delta A is linear in this case. Now we have to show that delta A is continuous. To show delta A is continuous, number 2, we show that delta A is continuous. Let phi of n be a sequence in D converges to 0 in D as n tends to infinity, that is phi n converges to 0 as n tends to infinity. Now limit of n tends to infinity, delta A phi n equals to limit n tends to infinity phi n of A. By definition of delta A we can write this, and which is equals to 0 because we have phi n tends to 0 here, and it means that phi n of A also tends to 0 of A and 0 of a is 0 itself, so that we can write here 0. So it shows that delta of a is continuous. Delta of a is continuous, hence delta a is a continuous linear functional, and delta a is a distribution in D. This distribution delta A is known as Dirac distribution. So this type of distribution we have defined above is known as Dirac distribution. We have one small remark. In particular, if a is equals to 0, then delta of a is denoted by delta, that is delta of 0 is delta itself, that is delta from D to R is defined by delta of phi equals to delta 0 of phi equals to phi of 0 for phi belongs to D, and this is known as Dirac delta function. Dirac delta function.